This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Hey everyone, I'm your host Dani, and I'm the first-time reader going through this series chapter by chapter. As always, there's no spoilers past the chapter we're covering, and that means it's totally safe for first-time readers. I'm joined by my co-host Brett, who's a longtime fan, and he's guiding me on this journey. We'd like to thank and acknowledge our executive producers, Brandy and Erik, Kirkwood, Sean McGuire, Yanis, LightBlindedFool, Green Man, Deyvis, Ferreira, Margaret, Big C, Bennett, Williamson, Dylan C, Hannah Green, Noralia, Geof, Searles, Erik Reed, Greysin, Ishara, Ashlee Bradley, and Laura Lewis. And before we get into things today, we just want to thank and welcome Rod G and Jason Hudson to the Wheel Weaves Patreon team. Thank you so much for your generosity and your support. You really, truly help make this podcast happen.
This is Uno Bloody Nemesta, and you're listening to the Goat Kissers from the Wheel Weaves podcast.
Hey, thanks, Uno. In this episode, we're talking about chapters 35 and 36 of The Gathering Storm.
I like to just call him Guy Roberts because we're basically best friends now.
He didn't say, hey, this is Guy Roberts. He said, this is Uno.
I know,
I
know.
Character, so
we made it back from JordanCon.
Yeah, we did.
And we got that soundbite.
We sure did.
We're going to use it forever.
Forever and ever. That's what happens.
Yeah. We're going to have to, at some point, do like a whole JordanCon recap because I know we live recorded during it.
Yep.
But we gotta...
Yeah, if you missed the live recording, you can find that on YouTube.
Yeah.
We actually did carry through and do it. It was a little bit of a last minute thing, and it was just kind of fun in the lobby, but it's fun. You can check it out. It's on our YouTube page.
Yeah, I just gotta decompress before we like really get into like how did it go.
I do have to say, though, on our YouTube live, Guy Roberts walks by on his way to autograph signing.
He does.
And he pops in and says hi.
He does.
So, like, that's fun for us.
There's a lot of fun things. We'll decompress later.
Yeah.
Chapter 35 is A Halo of Blackness.
Right.
And chapter 36 is The Death of Tuon.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
You got thrown through a loop here, right?
Can I speak about it now?
Sure.
About how mad I am at Brandon Sanderson for his naming of chapters.
I don't think
he
did he name the chapters? I still think that was a
I'm mad at whoever named that chapter because you think you're in for it, and then turns out not that interesting.
Okay.
Like medium interesting, but not as interesting as the death of Tuon, you know?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
The expectation.
And I mean, like, I get it at the end.
Right.
I understand it, but the expectation is way different.
Right.
Because you're like, oh shit, you know?
Yeah. No, these two chapters together, I mean, it's like, things they're not going so great for everybody.
After your fun fact, I'm going to give my summary of these two chapters.
Okay.
Because I got to practice saying it a lot of times, and I've basically perfected it.
Oh, that's like okay.
It's a really, really succinct summary.
Oh, because you at JordanCon, you had to tell everybody where you are.
Everybody constantly was like, where are you?
Right.
Because this question got asked a lot of our fans. How do you go to JordanCon and not get spoiled?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I wasn't even the furthest back reader. How do you want to say that? The first-time reader.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. No. And so it was actually a very inclusive environment, and all the panels were marked like full spoilers, minor spoilers, no spoilers. We were on a panel for first-time readers, and in that panel, the audience, some people hadn't even started reading the books yet.
Or seen the show.
Yeah, or they had just started watching the show, things like that. And so the crowds that we hang around are all very kind and inclusive, and they don't want to spoil it.
And cautious. So
almost overly cautious,
right.
where I was like annoyed. I was like, you can talk to me, you know. But anyway, so the question always was, where are you in the books? And I'd be like, okay, about chapter 36 of The Gathering Storm. And then people go a little cross-eyed or blank stared and go, what's happening though?
Yeah.
Because if you're not reading it like this, you don't know exactly what's happened. So then I got really good at my summary. So I'm going to give that after your fun fact.
Okay. Well, I'm going to jump into it because, I mean, the death of Tuon, we got to dive a little bit into this whole, Tuon's got a new name thing. And a little bit of...
Tuona.
Oh, for Tuon. I know, right? So, but we have to dive back first into her original name,
Tuon?
And then we're gonna go like her full name,
or her name before Tuon.
Her full name.
Tuon wasn't even her first name, was it?
That's like okay, but anyways, we're just gonna go over the parts of the name and what are the real world inspirations between and behind these names. Okay.
All right.
Here we go.
Okay.
So Tuon, first off, first name. There's a real world inspiration where Tuonela is the realm of the dead in Finnish mythology and is ruled by a king and a queen named Tuoni and Tuonetar. So very similar. We got the Tuon part. Now, the middle names of Tuon, you probably don't remember.
I don't know at all. I didn't know she had middle names.
Okay, her first middle name is Atheum, and that's a play on Athena, who's the
Athena.
Greek goddess of wisdom and warfare. And then her second middle name is Kor. I don't know if it's like Kore. I don't actually know if it's pronounced Kori, because Kori, Kore, spelled the same, is an alternate name in Greek mythology for Persephone, and Kori means girl or maiden, and she's the daughter of Zeus and Demeter, and Kori gets abducted by Hades, and he's the god of the underworld.
Yeah.
And then what happens with Kori/Persephone, because they're the same person.
Well, I was going to say it's Persephone who gets abducted.
But Kori is
okay.
the Tuon play
okay.
here. So
I've read Percy Jackson.
Okay. So Persephone would spend half the year with Hades in the underworld, and then half the year free in the real world. And this is a bit of a play because Tuon gets abducted by Mat, being Hades, basically.
Wrong.
But
Go on.
But then he brings her to a hell in Madarin, the underworld. It's great.
Whoa,
it's a great play.
That is the stretch over there.
It was in the Wheel of Time Origins books.
Was it?
So it has to be real.
Speaking of the Wheel of Time Origins book, we also got to hang out with Michael Livingston.
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of stuff that went down.
A lot of stuff. It was a great journey. We had so much fun. Yeah, and our Michael Livingston stories are excellent.
They're gonna, and he'll be on the podcast. Like, there's stuff to come.
The list of people who I've made promise to be on this podcast is
It was everybody.
great.
It was
it's
everybody.
everyone.
They can't escape now.
No, but that one I for sure think we can have.
Right.
That one I can really make happen.
Okay. No time for that now.
Okay.
Now, then the last name is Pandrag, and we've covered this before. That's got more to do with Arthur Hawkwing, who has a lot of ties to King Arthur.
Sure.
Pendragon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, anyways, her new name is Fortuona.
Yep.
You gotta appreciate that Tuon is in the name Fortuona also.
Yep.
But Fortuona is a play on Fortuna, who is the Roman goddess of fortune and is the personification of luck. That's literally where the phrase Lady Luck comes from.
Yep.
And who is Lady Luck married to?
Mr. Luck.
Mr. Luck. It's Mat. Right? It's fantastic.
Sure, okay.
And then the kind of cool part, so Corey.
That's what I'm going to call Matt from now on.
Mr. Luck.
Mr. Luck.
Married to Lady Luck.
Mr. Luck. You know that guy?
Yeah. So anyways, now the second middle name, Corey, in Tuon, because she's basically daughter of the Nine Moons there, and then she evolves into the Empress. So Corey...
Does she have other middle names? Not just Fortuna?
Atheum stays the same.
That stays the same.
That stays the same. But Corey, meaning girl or maiden, gets switched to Devi, which is a Sanskrit word meaning goddess.
Ooh.
So it's a nice little upgrade there, too.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
And we'll talk about that hierarchy situation when we get there. We
She's-
had a lot to talk about.
Yeah, okay.
Now, it's interesting because it's been a minute for us.
Yeah.
Like a couple weeks.
Yes.
Since we recorded. And it's funny because for people who are listening in real time, it's only been 1 week.
Yeah.
And for people who are binging this later in the future
Might be immediately afterwards.
it might be 2 minutes ago. You just heard the last one. So I needed to get caught up. I read them again.
Okay, good.
And so I'm going to give my summary.
Okay, do it.
Okay, so Rand has a meeting with Tuon, and he's like, friends? And she's like, no. And he's like, okay then, enemies. And she's like, yeah, enemies. We're going to attack the White Tower. And the audience is like, oh no. And that's where we leave them there.
Okay, that's a good summary.
Yeah.
That's what happens in the first chapter.
That's the whole thing. We actually don't have to go through it.
Yeah.
And then in the second chapter, Mat meets up with Verin, and Verin's like, you're Verin. Stop pulling me everywhere. And he's like, no, I'm not. And she's like, yes, you are. And also, here's a letter and a task in 50 days or 30 or maybe 10. I don't really know what's going on. And Matt's like, me neither. And that's where we are with that.
That's a good summary.
Matt also visited Hinterstop, and through a very weird plot detour, we learned basically nothing. And that's all. That's where we are. Everyone wanted to know if I got to Hinterstop
right,
yet.
everyone's caught up, exactly.
Yeah, and then so that's where we are. And then Nynaeve started her own detective agency.
Right.
She's Nynaeve's detective agency, Solve Any Crime by Dinner Time. And that's the Olsen twins.
Okay.
Remember? Olsen and Olsen Mystery Agency. Remember?
I don't.
I'm showing my age now.
Okay.
We'll solve any crime by dinner time. That's what they were.
And this is Nynaeve's?
This is Nynaeve.
Okay.
Because she went hunting for
Right.
the prisoner guy.
Yeah, that's the connection.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't have the Olsen and Olsen.
questioner guy.
I don't know that reference. So,
Yeah.
like, that, okay, that didn't help me.
No. But I was telling people about Nynaeve's detective agency. Because I was telling everybody where all the characters are.
Right.
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's good. That was good. That was a good summary. That's what
it.
happens.
That's what happens. And then Tuon is like, Empress and better than everybody. And that's where we are.
Okay, there we go. Now let's do this slower
Okay.
and talk about it.
Okay. So chapter 35, A Halo of Blackness. And the chapter symbol is the Shanshan helmet.
Right.
Which, yeah, got it. So we enter in our Rand perspective, and Rand is riding through a gateway because it's meeting day with the Daughter of the Nine Moons in Falm.
Yeah,
Falma.
Falma.
I've been watching the show a lot.
Ooh, yep, that happened.
Oops.
Okay. And I will note, everybody is super happy, and nobody...
They say Falm.
They do say Falm, but like nobody's stressed out about this meeting that's going to be taking place in a moment here.
And I do have to point out Rand's ridiculous overconfidence.
Is it? Well, I wasn't going to say overconfidence. I was going to say desperation, and
No,
that's part of the problem.
He's overconfident in the fact that he's so confident they won't attack him.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Which is dumb, considering the last time we tried to have this meeting, he was literally attacked immediately.
Yeah, I mean, again, when we're talking...
no precaution at all.
He does have precaution. He's holding the Choden call. He's holding it and pulling power through it. He is ready to go.
Okay, well,
and he has that thought process where he's like, I'm pretty sure I can take on like 200 Damani right now.
Okay.
So, like, maybe overconfident, yeah, but also he's got access now to, like, the true power.
Well, at least
so he can't necessarily be shielded. So, like,
sure
he's
likes
got...
to finger that statue. So...
He does.
Yeah. All right. Now, in returning to Falma, we have an opportunity to reminisce about all the great times we last had there.
Yeah.
And how well things have been going for him since then.
Yeah, it's super great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of whole like, hey, remember when we did this?
Remember when we were chased by dark friends
when
and
we
monsters
did that?
and Fane was there?
Yeah.
And remember when you were in the sky and then Min was like, oh no, you're dead.
And that was crazy,
and
hey?
then he was like, I couldn't heal you.
Yeah, it's so crazy, so crazy.
crazy.
Man, and then it's even more, because he's like, oh, remember that time that you went to the Aiel Waste and became the Kara Karn? And then it's like, remember that time when you found out you were the Dragon? But it's like he's doing so much remembering here of all the things. Like, yeah, man, we remember. I guess we're going to go through that. Yeah. And it's really funny, too, because so he thinks like, ooh, I always had to be on the run. Which way in that? And never any time. But also, right after Falm, didn't he spend like 6 months? He basically wintered in the mountains.
He wintered in the mountains.
He wintered in and did nothing.
But then he ran away.
He literally ran to
Literally ran away.
All the way across the
dogs.
country. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember that.
Okay. So, anyways, I just wanted to point that out.
Or dark hounds, maybe. Unclear.
Yeah, it's pretty clear.
Oh, is it?
Pretty sure they're dark hounds.
Oh.
Pretty sure. He wouldn't just kill like a regular dog.
He might. He's crazy. He's pretty crazy. He is pretty sleep deprived.
Okay, some of the dogs he killed probably were regular dogs. There's probably a couple of dark hounds in there too.
50-50.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
All right. So Rand and his entourage are all riding through the gateway.
Yeah, and they open up the gateway like a little bit further away just because they don't want so they're actually being pretty like cautious. They don't even want to give the Shanshan the idea of gateways. Mm-hmm. So yes, they use male channelers, so obviously the Damani can't see the weaves, but they also don't want to show them how they're getting around.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it actually, there's a callback too, because later Tuon thinks like, oh, they move faster than they should be able to, and I don't know how that's happening. Mm-hmm. So like they have...
good.
It is good.
Honestly,
yeah.
Frick.
Yeah.
I'm not thrilled about what's happening
what's
in
gonna
this
happen
book right now.
Okay. Well, anyways,
just putting that out there.
Let's get to the meeting because and then Nynaeve does like more remembering of everything. But also Min isn't here.
No.
Yes. That's the important part from the remembering of things.
Which fair?
Yeah. Well, okay, so I wanted to get your thoughts here because we're kind of back and forth on the whole like Rand-Min relationship thing.
Yeah.
Rand is thinking, oh my goodness, she hates me and can't look at me the same way.
Yeah.
And he's really basing that off of...
his own thoughts?
Yeah, but also the fact that she's not here right now because, like, she used to always come everywhere.
Before, she insisted on being there no matter what.
And now
she's not really with him all the time.
Exactly. And now this time, he was like, don't come. And she was like, okay.
Okay. And she normally doesn't say okay.
Exactly.
So I actually do feel like this is a little bit of a separation situation.
Do?
Yeah. I'd like to get in Min's head for a moment.
Yeah.
But... if I can't, then I'm just going to assume that she's pulling back a little.
Okay. Yeah, that's what Rand thinks is
Although,
like a lot, but
whatever it was, a couple nights ago, she curled up on the bench and slept there instead of just like going back to bed.
Mhm.
So,
yeah, we've seen them
or
snuggling
maybe
together.
she's got
So
very important business
maybe,
to attend to.
or maybe she is
With
like
like
a
Cad Swain's plan with the wise ones. Like haven't forgot that exists. That I
Right.
don't know
this
what
this
it is
secret
yet.
plan. It's a good plan.
So
it's
maybe
the best plan.
Well, and she has her own mission
Yeah.
right now, which is the seals stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Because I was gonna say too, maybe Min is thinking that she shouldn't come along on all these dangerous missions because she is a liability. Like that was literally the point of Rand getting his hand blown off. He's like, I couldn't jump out of the way because you were behind me, so I just had to take the full blast. So like she is a liability in a lot of ways.
Well, yeah, I know you said that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that. Rand thinks that their relationship is dead and he's gonna be dead soon too. So it's fine.
Which is yeah.
That's
fine. This is all fine.
Yeah.
It's like the house is on fire, but
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
A house literally did catch on fire, so that's kind of funny. And not funny, but like, you know.
Oh yeah, in the okay,
Mm-hmm,
yep.
mm-hmm. Oh, and we also get a recap on his fight with Lord Turak.
Right.
A super
Technicalities of being a blade master.
About being a blade master.
Yeah.
And I like the very explicit nature of this, where Rand is like, I killed that guy. And Nynaeve says, well, that makes you a blade master. And Rand says, no, technically not. No one was there to see it. And then Nynaeve counters, what does that matter? If you beat a blades master, you're a blade master.
Blade master.
Blade master.
Blade master.
I know, it's interchangeable in my brain. It sounds the same.
Yeah, but I mean, technically, you're supposed to have a witness to the fight.
I know.
Because you can't just like kill. They got to make sure it's proper.
It's funny because
There's two ways.
Because I agree with Nynaeve here.
Okay.
Where she's like, that makes you one.
Right.
And he goes, what's the point of being a blade master or having a heron on your blade if it's not for people to see? And then she just is like, harumph.
Whatever.
And it's annoying when Rand is being so logical.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, that's true. However, I'm annoyed. Like, I'm Nynaeve in this situation.
Yeah.
Where I'm like,
well, I really
matter.
like the technical argument between this two, because there is something to say, like, you should have a witness to be able to carry that, but also we saw it with Gawain, but like carrying a blade master blade is like a warning to other people so they know what they're getting into when they fight you. And we actually got to see that with Gawain. It's like, you should carry a blade master sword because people shouldn't go up and fight you not knowing how skilled you are.
Yeah.
Right? So with Rand, the technicality is he didn't get judged by other blade masters. He didn't do the NHL skills comp to actually win the sword, right?
Sure.
But he also technically didn't beat a blade master in front of witnesses that are alive to like vouch for him. There was that one
it's
dude.
very concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's rules, and technically I don't think he's qualified for it. And now he doesn't have two hands. So
oh, so he's not probably so much any longer.
He's probably not as good.
Yeah.
He did say he's gonna have to relearn it now. So I don't know. I don't know how we should feel about this. It's a tricky one for me.
Yeah, I think he is one.
Yeah.
But probably not any longer.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think he could probably like teach people how to be good. He has the like skills in his brain.
Sure. Okay.
Although he really did have some inherent abilities.
Yeah, it was a loose Theron thing, right? So okay.
Mm-hmm.
Technical arguments.
Right. Okay. So we're finally gonna get insight of a big pavilion, which is a tent without sides.
Right. We did cover that.
Yeah. And it's been set up outside the city, and there are hundreds of Damani and Suldam here.
Yeah, everybody's out in force here.
Yeah, and so Rand only has a handful of people here, but he still needs to make it seem like he's come in peace this morning, and he definitely still has the access key.
Yeah, this is where we kind of get it, because before we get close enough, he has to embrace the power.
Yeah.
And he does this whole, like, woozy thing, and actually, it goes really bad.
Yeah.
Like, that whole part, it's getting worse,
'Kay.
too, it seems.
But before we talk about that, I have a question for you.
Okay.
What is an outer coat pocket?
It's not an inner coat pocket. It's not an inside pocket. It's on the outer. It's on the outside.
So it's
right?
not that he's wearing two coats and he has an inner coat and an outer coat, and the pocket is on the outer coat?
Oh, it could be that too. I don't know enough about. Okay.
Yeah, because the access key is in his.
How many coats are there?
Exactly.
What's the temperature?
That's what I'm wondering.
Is the temperature cold enough to wear two coats?
Two coats.
That's a good question.
The access key is in his outer coat pocket, and I thought, not described well enough for me.
Yeah.
I'm thinking too hard about this situation. What pocket is this in?
It's on the outer one.
It's on the outer coat pocket.
One way or another. It's not on the inner or the outer inner coat pocket, right?
Nope, it's not.
Okay.
Nope, outer coat pocket.
Outer coat pocket.
So is he wearing an outer coat? and it's in that pocket, or is it the outside pocket of his
Doesn't
coat?
matter because it'd be in the same place. Functionally, it's in the same place.
No, because it could be on the inside pocket of the outer coat.
Oh, no, okay.
Yeah.
But they didn't specify that. I don't think so.
They didn't specify hardly enough for this, for
Did
me.
not get enough clarification here.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, good. So not cleared up.
No, this is a big
I
question
thought
mark.
you were going to clear this up for me.
Yeah, no.
This is my big question of
with
the night.
more research, perhaps I could, but not right now. Not just like off the cuff.
Okay.
Okay.
This is going to be a great debate. I can feel it.
So, what do you think about when Nynaeve's like, "Hey, Rand, how you doing?" Because he like embraces the power not well, and then Rand's like, "We're fine."
Yeah,
and
I
it's
love
like,
it.
"Wait, what?"
I love that.
Wait, what did you say?
I love
Why
it.
did you say we're fine? Okay.
I love it.
Because it's him and LTT,
I got
right? It's
it.
like because Luce Theron's also trying to be there,
Yeah.
and then Rand's like, "I don't know who I am anymore."
Yeah, it's great. It's so entertaining.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Oh no."
Yeah, but don't talk about that right before a big
Oh,
meeting.
No.
Power through. We got a presentation to do.
They're right.
You can be sick after, not now.
Okay, so we're finally going to get in sight of Tuon, and there's a chair set up across from her at the equal level.
That's important.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
They're across from a big table from each other, which I
Yes.
didn't pick up on the first read.
The table is big enough that he can't reach her.
Yeah.
Too. That's also comes into play.
Yeah. And then Rand has this moment of thinking, this is the daughter of the 9 moons, this child.
Right.
And then he gets
corrects it pretty
closer,
close. Like he gets close, and he's like,
and then
"Oh
he
wait."
realizes it's just a small woman, probably of his own age.
Yeah.
But now it's time for this war to end, so let's get this meeting going.
Exactly. I like it. Okay.
Now, we are going to perspective change at this moment into Tuon's
Right.
perspective.
She is still Tuon.
And she sees Rand approaching, and at first is surprised that he's so young, but then is like, I shouldn't be surprised. Most conquering heroes are young. They start out young, really hot, burn out quickly.
Yeah, and that's
Much
a
like
real thing
Arthur
too.
Hawkwing.
Arthur Hawkwing, yeah.
Yep.
Alexander the Great, all those people.
Yeah,
right?
she takes note of his relatively simple clothing, not
This
overly
is funny.
fancy.
I love this
his
part.
missing hand. He's super regal.
Yeah.
And he must have had the finest teachers to prepare him because he walks in with this swagger and she's like, I've been taught to walk like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then she's like, "Oh, but I know about this whole simple farmer backstory."
Ruse? Is it a ruse?
Well, because she's like, "Oh, that must be like a carefully crafted piece of propaganda to bring credibility with the common people."
Uh-huh.
And it's like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's a hilarious insight into
she
how
gets quite a
Tuon
bit
views him.
wrong, actually.
Yeah, but it's like that's
I like being in her head for this piece of the meeting. I
Yeah.
think it's interesting.
it like shows how calculated the Shanshan are in their upbringing of like empresses like this.
Yeah.
And Dragon Reborn being equal, she assumes it's the same,
Yeah.
but it's very much not.
No.
He just does whatever he feels like all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Pretty much.
Pattern's
always.
gonna pattern.
Yeah. But then we get a whole lot of Tuon's thoughts about how there's Mareth Damani with him.
Yeah.
And it's an abomination. There's men who can channel and these women who can channel who are clearly like with him. And
Okay, did you pick up on what the Shanshan called the men who can channel?
No.
I love it. Okay, it's Saro Vandy Dune. That's like the old.
Weird. I didn't pick up on that.
But the translation is black-souled tempests.
No.
It is. It is. It's
no,
there.
I didn't pick it up.
It's in the writing.
At least that kind of makes sense.
I know, but tempests.
I know.
Just.
It's a really fancy storm.
It is. Yeah.
At one point, we're going to have to play the music piece, The Tempest, that we all played in junior high band.
Right. Yep.
Yeah,
That's the piece.
it is.
Yeah.
I can hear it in my head, actually.
I don't know if that was
I
just
played
like
the
a
flute.
where we went to school thing.
Yeah.
Or like, but like we
we
went
went
to different.
to separate schools.
Yeah.
It's like a piece of music for
I meant the
age
like the
of,
city. Is that like in
13-year-olds.
the city curriculum?
I'd be The Tempest.
The
yeah.
Tempest.
Well, now I'm going to look it up.
Okay.
At least who it's by. Okay, I found it. The Tempest by
on.
Robert W. Smith.
What instrument did you play?
Flute.
Okay, and I played the trombone.
Oh,
so
we
hear
had different parts.
Hear the parts.
Okay. So good. The Tempest is building.
It's just like bringing back feelings. There you go. I think you captured it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do we get the rights for this to be our podcast music?
Pay probably $80,000. I don't know how much. I don't know how much music costs, but probably a lot.
Okay. I'll look it up.
$2 million.
Oh God.
$5.
5.
I don't know.
I'll pay 5. I'd pay $5 for that to be our intro music. It's The Tempest.
It's The Tempest.
It should be, especially for this whole book. It should have been this whole time.
Right. Okay.
Okay, but things are happening, Brett.
Right. We're gonna let's start the negotiation.
Okay. It goes well.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't really, spoiler alert. But, so, Rand is going to walk directly to the chair opposite of Tuon, and he doesn't even question that she set him as her equal.
Yeah. Well, in his perspective, he was surprised because he knows a little bit about the whole Shanshan hierarchy, and they're sticklers.
Okay.
They're sticklers for that. But he doesn't say anything because,
And he doesn't show anything.
Right. But this is the important bit here.
This is why she's delayed proclaiming herself the Empress.
Right.
Because nobody can be equal to the Empress, not even the Dragon Reborn.
Yes, but the Daughter of the Nine Moons, as that role, she is equal, so she can meet with Rand in that role.
Right. And then she says, "You are the Dragon Reborn." And then Rand says, "We will make peace today," basically. Like, it's like this back and forth.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I do like the little solution bit, too, because Rand immediately picks up that she's like a bodyguard.
Tell your bodyguard to calm down.
Yeah.
And Tuon's like, "That's my voice, not my bodyguard." And Rand's like,
Okay.
"Yeah, okay."
Okay, I've seen
And
a
then
bodyguard before.
He got it. He guesses it.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, not many people have guessed that before." And it's
Yeah.
like, have they, though? They just haven't told you that they've guessed it. Right?
Right? Like, maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know. Okay.
Okay. So Tuon is like, "Okay, you want peace? Do you have terms for that offer?" And then Rand's like, well, it's a necessity because the last battle's coming and everyone's forces are going to be needed to fight the Shadow.
Right.
So, like, not really. Just let's have peace.
Well, and then it's like,
And
okay,
that's
but
all.
Tuon knows that the last battle is actually supposed to be between the Shanshan and the Dark One.
She
Okay.
thinks these idiots here don't even remember their own prophecies right.
Right.
They're like, stupid idiots.
They don't remember anything.
They don't remember anything properly. Don't they know?
Yeah. And it is a little bit of an interesting insight, too, because we get that they have the Essenic cycle, which is, like, we have the Cariathan cycle,
Okay.
right? And then we know the Sea Folk have their own prophecies, the Aiel have their own, like, versions of everything, and then we do have the Shanshan, who maybe have some distorted views, but maybe they don't. Like, who knows? They're prophecies. They're hard to figure out, right? Because she thinks that it's clear that the Dragon Reborn is going to, bend the knee and bow to the Empress and all that stuff. So doesn't that obviously mean that the Dragon Reborn's gonna have to side with her? Like, that makes sense to her.
Well,
But-
and she thinks he'll bow to the Empress, and then when it's time, the Shanshan will be defeating, what does she got? Light Eater?
well, Rand will duel with Light Eater.
Light
That's
Eater.
the dark
Isn't
one.
that what the Aiel call it?
No, that's
Something
like Leaf
similar.
Blighter, and yeah, there's a couple, but it's not exactly Light Eater.
Okay,
No,
it's something weird. Also,
yeah, there's a few different ones.
and anyway, she thinks I'm going to be the one. The Shanshan are going to defeat him, and when it's time, they will release the Dragon Reborn to fight him.
Yeah, which is kind of like what the Aes Sedai think. It's like, oh, we'll send
Hold
you
him.
in. Just
Yeah.
go get him now. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
What are we doing
We'll
here?
take you in, buddy.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Anyways.
And Rand is like, that's not how any of this is going to work.
No. But part of the conversation is interesting, too, because Rand's saying, like, why are you fighting me on this? Like, don't you see this is so important?
The last battle's so close.
Yeah, it's so close. It's like right around the corner. He does a whole thing about, like,
And
it's
he's
so
like,
close.
how close is it?
Yeah.
Like, that's what she says. How close is it? And he's like, so close that we could blink and the chimes will chime on a clock and it'll be the last battle.
The midnight chime, there's 12 chimes,
And
but
it's
we're at
the
11.
next one. Oh
and
my
it's the
God.
it's so close.
It's so close.
Yeah. But then Tuon's like, hey, we're the return. We saw it was time to come back, and we got here, and we
And
thought
this
you
place
guys
is a mess.
we thought you guys were gonna be like all organized and ready to say, okay,
We
here's
thought
our
you
armies.
guys would be like, woo, with a welcome home sign.
Right.
You weren't waiting at the airport with a welcome home sign.
Not even any sign at all.
You weren't even there to pick us up.
You were like, I forgot you were flying in.
I forgot you existed.
It was
Who
like-
are you
It
again?
was like 1,000 years ago. I don't know. Okay. Anyways, so now
That's my favorite analogy
All right.
we've ever done. That is too good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then she's like, hey, you're all children. And Rand's like, we're not children, you're children. It's fine. And then Rand's like a little offended, but then
he's like, it's apt.
yeah,
these
it's like
people
that.
are awful
Yeah.
here.
But then he does say like, hey, but I got them together a little bit, and it's not very strong, but it'll hold long enough for me to
And
basically
then you
fight
can
and
figure
die.
out whatever the hell you want when
Then
I'm
it's
gone.
not his problem.
Yeah.
Not his problem. Yeah, so that was the conversation.
Yeah. So then Tuon tries to counter-argue that if he loves Unity so much, maybe he should just marry it.
Yeah.
Why don't you just unite all the lands under the Shan-Chan and
just
have
join my
everyone
side.
take the oaths and then we're all together? And Rand interrupts her and is like, no. And she's like, but, and he's like, no.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Because
Because?
nobody else is going to be chained by your foul leashes.
Yeah, Rand's got some first-hand
And
experience
then
here now, too.
Tuon gets her back up against that
Yeah.
and is like, foul leashes, it's them who's foul, not us, them.
Yeah. But then he's like, no, I'm not conceding on this point. And then things get tense because now Rand's interrupted Tuon several times, and you're not supposed to interrupt the Daughter of the Nine Moons.
Whatever.
Ugh,
Yeah.
terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay, this is the turning point for the conversation.
Tuon realizes the conversation has got off track and refocuses to something they both have in common. And also, side note, she wants to know how Matt's doing.
She does, yeah.
So she says, how about Matrim Cawthon?
Well, she also wants to, learn more about Matt from the Rand
and
perspective.
also, Matt claimed to know Rand, so she's doing a little sleuthing of her own.
And checking the accounts.
Yeah, and Rand is pretty shocked by this. And is like, how do you know Matt? And Tuon's like, well, he kidnapped me and dragged me across Altara. And then
It's like, ooh.
Rand's like, well, if he did that, I'm sure he had a good reason.
Yeah. It's like, maybe.
Yeah, and then my favorite moment of all of this.
Oh, yeah.
He goes, oh, that's where I know you from. I knew you looked familiar.
I know, I saw you.
I've been saying this all along.
Yeah.
Because it annoyed me that he didn't recognize her.
I appreciate the fact that he didn't just instantly recognize her.
I don't.
I appreciate that because I often, in real life, always can't place people's face. And you're like, you should know me. And it's like, yeah, I know I should.
I know.
And I feel bad that I don't.
I do appreciate that it is mentioned. And it's like, there is a connection to be had because I've been saying this connection should have happened because Rand has seen her before. And so even though it's a little late, at least he makes it.
We get it.
At least we get the connection.
Yeah, I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
So anyways, Rand's like, yeah, well, Matt probably had his reasons. He always does, and they always seem so logical at the time. So I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah. And then Tuon can't help herself and it says, what type of man is Matt? And then...
Yeah, she trash talks him a little bit.
Scoundrel.
He's a scoundrel. I thought he was a scoundrel. You know, he's always trying to get out of his oaths and stuff like that because oaths.
Because
he took the oaths and he
didn't
take
even care about them.
Didn't care.
Crazy.
Yeah, and he was like, I don't care about these oaths because I had to.
Nynaeve.
Yeah.
Mama Bear does not care for this comment.
Yeah. If anyone's going to talk crap about Matt, it's going to be me.
Exactly.
I know him.
Yeah. And
you can't
she
talk
says
crap.
Matt is one of the finest men she's ever known. And then Rand agrees with that. And then Tuon is like, ugh, this Merith Damani shouldn't be talking to me.
Yeah. I do love it though because Nynaeve would never tell Matt to his face that you're a fine man and an upstanding you're the best.
Never.
She would never say that.
Sure, he drinks too much and gambles.
But he's the best person.
Golden heart. Heart of gold, I tell you. Gold.
You would never say that.
Never.
And even when she's like, he saved my life. And it's like,
which I love and have to mention because we had a whole debate on the whole thank you situation.
Right.
And she clearly is thankful and grateful that happened.
Uh-huh.
And it's only in this situation that she's able to admit out loud that Matt saved her life and came to rescue her when nobody else would.
Yeah, in such a direct fashion too. Yeah. Because I think we did get
a half-hearted... But I'd never tell him to his face.
It's like, why wouldn't you tell him that? And then Rand does agree, but his is also like, yeah, he's pretty much a pretty good friend. He's like the best friend you could probably ask for, considering friends.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
All around, it's a pretty funny conversation.
Yeah, it's good. But then eventually Rand's like, this has got off track. I'm tangenting.
It doesn't matter.
None of this matters. I need you.
Yeah, so this is what I was going to say about this whole, the way Rand is approaching this. So yeah, he's having some issues, but if Rand, hypothetically, had have given this some time and actually done some negotiating and politicking, I feel like he could have come to some sort of agreement with Tuon. The issue is, he's desperate to make the alliance. He's so desperate,
and
he pushes so hard.
Well, not only does he push so hard, but he just naturally assumes that she'll see all the logic in what he's saying and join with him.
Well, and then moving into the next phase here too, he's relying a little bit on that whole Verin-ness to will things to happen. And then I want you to consider moving to this next part, how the Shanshin and Tuon especially, they're very like omen people, and they view things in the pattern. And when she sees and she can be self-aware that like something is influencing me, she immediately puts her walls up and is like, no, not letting it influence me. Where normally, like, if you didn't go so hard at it, Rand, you might have been able to like actually talk to her about this.
Like you could have had the Ta'veren influence when she doesn't recognize that that's what's happening.
And not just like brute force your way through this whole conversation.
Because Rand leans forward, seems to loom, and seems to be 100 feet tall. And he says, you must call off your attacks. You must sign a treaty with me. These are not requests. They are my will.
Right.
And then that's when Tuon feels herself longing to obey. She starts thinking what an excellent idea this would be. A chance to stabilize her hold on the lands, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then she's like, what's happening? What's happening? No,
Because she's
no.
like feeling that influence and then...
But she's very strong-willed.
And then the halo of blackness, so she gets to see that kind of like looming, darkness around him.
Yeah.
And again, like
That's the chapter title.
Oh, it is, but she's a very omen-centric person, so when you see that, of course, like, you'd have to assume that she's gonna, with all her might, resist this now, because, like, no cannot happen.
And she barely manages to whisper no.
Yeah.
And then Rand's expression seems to get darker, and she repeats herself, no, you will bow before me. And he's like, okay, nope, goodbye. And he just, like, gets up and leaves.
Yeah, because she thinks I can't ally with this creature. And also we're looking at the whole Shanshin, the way they view channelers in general, and then especially male channelers that can't be helping this whole conversation too.
Yeah. So Tuon watches him go, and she doesn't want the others to see her rattled and know that she's actually quite afraid of him, so she just sits still and silent until she can compose herself, and nobody speaks, like everybody's pretty rattled.
Yeah. It's like several, 10, 20 minutes later, maybe?
Yeah, and
like
she stands up and turns to everyone and says, I am the Empress. And everyone falls to their knees, even the high blood, and it's, gonna be a formal ceremony, but right now the declaration is all she needs.
Yeah, it's just like the abdication of the throne. You just say, I'm the Empress, and it's like, boom, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the important part.
At least she said it into a room of people, and she
not
didn't
out
just
the window to nobody.
It into the wind. Yeah.
Yeah, but the wind carries the words around, right, to other people.
Oh, is that how that happens?
It's magic.
I never mentioned that before.
Yeah, no, it's I think we talked about that. It's
I
magic.
think Margaret isn't magic.
And all the people of the land heard.
I think at one point I did have a theory that Tuon does have the spark.
Oh, well, the fact that
she's
a
Suldam, right?
Suldam.
Yeah. Okay.
So, like, definitely.
I hope that comes into play
Yeah.
one day. I think that would be very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And I was waiting until right now to let everybody know that I created a drink at JordanCon.
Right.
With gin, and the gin is called the Empress Gin.
Yes, and it was you used it from the first bottle of the Empress Gin that we bought. There was no replacement bottle that was needed. It was the original bottle that was bought.
We made a traditional sacrifice.
Yeah.
To the convention gods.
Yes.
It's tradition.
You keep saying we, but it wasn't.
You did it. You dropped my entire duty-free bottle of Empress Gin.
Smashed it on the floor of the airport.
We spilled Canadian liquor on American soil as a sacrifice to the gods for a good convention.
And it worked.
It worked.
So we'll have to do that.
Except next time a little less. Yeah. A little less of my favorite gin, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah.
So anyway, the gin is from Victoria, BC, where they have one of those big fancy Fairmont hotels called the Empress. There's a story there that I can't get into, or
that's fine.
I don't know it right now. Anyway, so I was making drinks with the Empress Gin, and I was calling it May She Live Forever.
Nice.
But then I read the next chapter, and then I was calling the drink The Death of Tuon.
That's good too.
Same thing.
Yeah.
And it's a really purple gin.
I like it.
Whatever it's made with is a purpley gin.
Okay.
And that's
fun.
It's a gin drink.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Let's finish this chapter because one more important thing happens.
Yep.
She's the Empress.
Yep.
That she calls General Galgan. He's like the head general guy.
Yeah.
And she says, hey.
Oh yeah. I was ignoring this part.
Tell General Yulin, who's the air captain guy.
The main guy.
Yeah. And she says, hey, tell General Yulin to prepare his attack on the Marithamani of Tarvalon. We must strike against the Dragon Reborn quickly. He cannot be allowed to gain any more strength than he already has. So.
Dun dun dun.
When in fact the first time when you were reading these books, you were like, hey, I didn't even realize that we were talking about attacking Tar Valon.
Yeah, no, I got it.
You
now.
missed that. We're doing it because then she was like, "Wait, don't," that last time, but now this time she's like, "Yes, do."
Well, I mean, like she's given the order to start,
right?
And and we'll talk about it next chapter.
Okay, that's fair.
But first, we have to take a break.
Right.
I wish I had some Empress Gin. If I had thought ahead, I would have made the drink for this evening.
Okay, that's true.
I didn't though.
Oh well.
Yeah, next time. Okay, so we're back, and we're going to talk about Chapter 36, The Death of Tuon.
Yes.
Which, like I said...
confusing.
A touch misleading. Not confusing.
So dramatic.
Just dramatic and misleading.
Yeah.
And the chapter symbol is the wheel and snake, because, to Verin. And we're entering in a Mat perspective, which threw me off with the name of the title. I was so excited. Actually, I was like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And I was
She's gonna change your name.
And I was actually for it.
Like killing Tuon.
Yes.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Okay.
I was for killing Tuon off.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is because yes, Mat was fated to marry her, and he did.
And he didn't say for how long.
And
right.
She literally just said enemies to Rand.
Mm-hmm.
And so if she was about to die, maybe that's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe that's okay.
Okay.
Because I don't know how it would happen or whatever. But if she dies, then now the Shan-Shan are back in chaos.
Right.
And that's good for our good guys.
Yeah.
Who are fighting against the
I'm
Shan-Shan.
not disagreeing. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool.
Right. Not what happened.
It's not.
Okay.
So annoying.
Let's go Mat and Verin first.
Yeah, okay. Man, Verin's story is so freaking long-winded.
I love it. She's so brown agile.
Oh my gosh, it is
I
the
revel
most
in this.
long-winded.
And she knows it. She
do
finally has a story she knows we want to hear. She knows it.
Well, let me tell you about this lady who lost her ring.
Yeah. And then what happened, Verin?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Verin is in the process of doing story time with Mat.
Yeah.
And telling him about how everything went down, how she found herself in the middle of nowhere, handing out pictures, trying to find Mat or Perrin.
Yeah, but also she needs tea. So can we get some tea first? And then it's really funny because at the end of this chapter, Mat does a whole thing where he's like, I'm going to throw this stupid bench out. And I was like, wait, what bench? And it's like,
oh, I picked up on that.
Okay, because the entire time he's like.
Because he said the description of how he originally describes this bench that they're sitting on.
Right.
You have to find it and read it. You have to.
Okay.
Look in your book.
Yep.
Because it's just so snarky
It
about
is.
a bench.
All right, so Mat seats himself on the pillowed bench. He hated the thing. It was completely impossible to sit on it in any way that was comfortable. Pillows didn't help. Somehow, they made the seat more awkward. Bloody thing must have been designed by insane cross-eyed Trollocs and built from the bones of the damned. Yeah. That was the only reasonable explanation.
Insane cross-eyed Trollocs. It's so dramatic.
Yeah.
And I picked up on that. And so at the end, he's like, I'm throwing this out. And I had visions of Egwene on her shitty wobbly stool that I was like, just get a new one.
Yeah.
And so I was like, good, yeah, throw it out if you hate it.
Get new chair. Yeah.
Insane cross-eyed Trollocs.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, back to it. Now we're gonna tell the story.
Right. So she started in Tyr, and her goal was to make her way to Tar Valon, but she got super uber sidetracked.
Yeah.
And then she's like, hey Mat, have you heard of traveling? And he's like, yes. And then she's like, do you know how to do that? And he's like, no. And she's like, well, let me tell you how we travel.
Yeah.
And on and on.
Yeah.
And on.
You got to know the place that you're starting from.
You got to know.
So then I went to this town.
So here I was. I says to Mabel, I really need to know this room. And just as I was about to travel, oh my God, I was interrupted. And then again. And then again, and then again.
And then there was a storm, the biggest storm you ever seen.
And then there was
a storm.
A fire.
A fire.
And then,
I said I wouldn't move rooms, and then the inn burned down.
The inn burned down. And then I got on a caravan heading to Kyring, because I was like, okay, at least I get somewhere. And then
me and Thomas, we both fell asleep.
We fell asleep. You see, I should have known. But
should have set my alarm clock, but I must have forgot.
Yeah, so we're heading towards Mirandy, and then we're like, no, we don't want to do that. So we get off the caravan, and then right when we're skimming, because skimming is really stupid, but we're gonna do it anyway because we know Tar Valon.
Right.
Just as we're opening the gateway to skim, what's his face Thomas is like, I really like fishing in wherever.
Trestair, the town that they went to. Oh, yeah, it's a little place.
My God,
how showed
did
up
we
there.
Get
it's
off
crazy.
The bridge?
I love it because like Verin tells it in such the most like
it is so long.
Yeah.
I was listening to it in the car and I was like almost home after my like half an hour drive and I was like, is Verin still telling this story?
She's still doing this story.
Oh my god. Anyway, so Mat basically yanked her halfway across the continent due to his Verin pull.
Well, yeah, and she's like, hey, it couldn't have been Rand because I just left that guy and that was fine, so it had to be either you or Perrin. So,
plus, don't you want to know where I got your pictures from?
Right. Oh,
Dark Friends. It's Dark Friends.
It's Dark Friends. They were like, hey, here's some pictures. And I was like, okay.
Why is Verin Italian from Brooklyn?
I don't know. That's the only accent I know how to do. Yeah. Remember how that one time
I'm walking here. We're so bad at it.
Yeah, it's so bad, but that's okay. They don't mind.
Oh, they don't?
No. But okay, so here's the issue first off, is that I actually really like to look at this comparison of Verin, like, picking up on the fact that she's being pulled and yanked, and it makes me think of Loyal when he first met Rand, because he was like, whoa, weird stuff, man. You must be Verin.
Yeah.
And then Rand's like, I don't even know what that word means. He's like, no, like this is a weird situation. Gotta be Verin.
Yeah, and I'm that's following you because
exactly, and I want to be there because like more weird things are gonna happen. But that's the same as
Verin, who's like following these boys around.
They're like book smart, and she's like,
their own
Verin
histories.
must be.
Yeah,
must be. So yeah, so I kind of do like that as like a concept that Verin's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and then Mat's like, oh, you were with Rand. How's that guy doing? Crazy yet?
Yep.
And then Verin's like, yeah, pretty much. Pretty crazy. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
But she does come to his defense a little bit. She's like, well, okay, well, here's the thing. It might not all be craziness because he's got like a lot of actual stress and pressures that everyone's putting on. Mm-hmm. So it's not just the Mat. Plus the source is cleansed.
And Mat is like, hold up.
Yeah.
What do you mean? The entire world has changed now. And Verin's like, yeah.
Not really.
I gotta tell you about how I came to find you.
Right. I'm back on that whole pictures thing. Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny, too, because Verin is actually, like, I'm going to agree with her pretty strongly on this because she says, well, yeah, the cleansing, it's not really life-altering.
It's a pebble in a pond, and we have to wait for the ripples to get to the shore.
But she's not... Like, Mat disagrees, but I'm going to agree with Verin because we didn't see any big sweeping changes with a lot of people.
No, except for now, any new male channelers.
Exactly, and that's why it's the ripples. Like, it's not like all the eyesight were like, great, let's let all the males channel now. That didn't happen. People aren't naturally going to be like,
however, the
I'm
Red
fine with them
Asha
now.
are going to eventually need a new job.
Yeah, they have a new job, remember? They're going to bond all the male channelers because they're the only ones who knew how to deal with men.
Can we get back to the Black Tower, by the way? By
nope.
What is happening there?
I don't think we want to know what's happening there.
So many bad things, probably.
Do we want to go back there?
Yeah.
Rand doesn't want to go back there.
No, he has abandoned that notion 1,000%.
Yeah.
I am so interested in what the heck is going on over there.
Okay. Yes.
Maybe when we finally get to Camelin, we'll hear about it, but...
that would be the place to...
Probably
But, like,
not.
Mat's not going to go anywhere near there.
Oh, no. But is Elaine still, like, checking on it, or...
Yeah, they're totally doing those inspections, man.
I don't know.
They were going great at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, back to it, though, because... Hold on. We gotta go back to this whole, like, picture thing, because she tells the story of, like, how and why she has these pictures.
Yeah.
And then Mat's got, like, the best answer, because he's like, well, you're Aes Sedai. I figured you just,
Sidarted. And I was like, did you just make Sidar a verb?
I love it.
Yeah.
And then she's like
Sidarted. And he's like, yeah, Sidarted.
Which, to be fair, I don't, like, he doesn't know how it works.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't know how the magic works. Why can't you just make pictures with it?
Well,
Why
and
not?
You probably could.
Maybe.
Like with dirt or like literally with charcoal.
Would you have to, like, move it in an artistic way or something? Or just be like...
Probably.
Boom. Art.
Probably.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. The important part is that she's like, hey, Mat, you're in grave danger because orders are to kill you. Like, people
are chasing you. Yeah. And he's like, what else is new?
Yeah, it's like, I know
people
that.
People have been chasing me and trying to kill me since before I left the Two Rivers.
Yeah, for literally always, all the time, always.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So anyways, it kind of incorporated into this whole, like, she has a price for taking him and his band to Andor immediately.
Yeah.
And we got to get to that, because at first he's like, oh, that's the price? I got to be careful? Okay, great. That's not the price, though.
No, because Verin does have instructions for Mat.
Right. If he's to take this free trip to Andor.
Then, this is kind of like one of those, you've won a free cruise.
Yeah.
but here are a bunch of things you gotta do before you get it.
It's a timeshare meeting. You just gotta go to a meeting.
You just gotta go to a meeting.
Gotta go to a meeting. It's fine.
So he has to follow these instructions that are on this parchment on the 10th day after Verin leaves him in Cairhien.
Yes.
And she gives him a sealed letter, but he can't open it.
Yeah, because he goes to, he's like, oh, okay, like, let me read the orders, and then I'll...
No, you can't open it until Verin leaves.
Secret instructions.
Yeah, or on that day.
Right.
And that's the cost. And Matt's like, I'm not going to swear to something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And she's like, fine, then don't do it.
Right.
And if you don't, then you have to do something else in 30 days.
50.
Or 50 days.
Okay, so
something.
this is the negotiation here.
Okay.
So she's like, okay, well, I'll give you the option because, like, you're being a stubborn butthead, and I forgot that you're that kind of person. So you can either A, open it up and do what the letter says in 10 days, or you can wait in Camelin for 50 days, not open the letter, but you got to wait there 50 days just in case it takes me longer to get back than I was originally intending.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like,
you got to wait for me to come back.
Yeah, and then they kind of like, they go the back and forth or whatever. They finally settle on 30 days waiting in Camelin. So Matt says, okay, I'll agree. I won't look at the letter. I'm not going to do the instructions, just not going to open it.
Yeah.
But I'll wait 30 days in Camelin.
And he says, yeah, basically
That's the deal.
That's what I'm going to do.
Because, like, time frame wise,
originally he's like, no deal.
Yeah.
Deal or no deal?
Well, like, the 50
no
days
deal.
is a long time. But also keep in mind that it's going to take Matt like 20 days to march to Camelin. From right now. If he doesn't get the traveling, it's going to take 20 days. So it's like 30 days isn't so bad because then he just doesn't have to travel. He doesn't have to walk. And then he can start working on the dragons.
Staying stuck somewhere for 30 days.
Yeah.
When maybe I want to move or do something.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the whole thing. If you don't want to walk for 20 days.
Right.
Now, here's a question, too. Yeah. Because, like, the last experience he has with letters from people that have instructions on them is the Tom letter from Moraine, where it's like Tower Genji.
That's exactly what I thought. Yeah. And I'm 100% convinced that this is also from Moraine.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't talk about this. What do you think the letter? You think it's from Moraine?
It's from Moraine. I think it's more letters. Because I think...
Like more instructions?
More instructions.
About the Tower of Genji.
About the Tower of Genji.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, like, he's on the way. That would... Okay.
I bet that... Maybe in part of Tom's letter, there was also instructions like for Verin or something to give to Matt. Like what? Like there's probably steps, right?
Yeah.
Once Matt asks,
and Moraine's a schemer like that.
So schemy.
Oh, it's so good.
And it has to work out because of like fate or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so once Matt agrees to go do it, then he gets new instructions. And if he doesn't follow them, then fate will take a different turn or whatever, right?
Yeah.
There's different options.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I'm going to have to get all sorts of supplies and information and all sorts of stuff anyway while I'm in Camelin. Mm-hmm. So I'll just wait and then we'll leave.
Right.
But my bet
secret letter
is it's from Moraine. It's information they need.
Yeah.
And...
Is he going to open it?
He's going to open it.
He's going to open it. Okay.
And follow the instructions.
In 10 days? Or like he's going to be like, I'm sick of waiting. Or something.
No, I think it has to be in 10 days, doesn't it? He has to wait until
he has to wait 10 days. Yeah, but it's like he doesn't want to wait the extra 20 days, basically. Yeah. Like
no, I think he'll wait the 10 days and he'll open it on the 10th day.
I like that. I like that.
The strike of midnight. Or, you know, like he'll wait and wait.
It's like, I'm going to read this stupid letter.
Yeah, he's going to. Yeah, that's the prediction.
It's like, you have won a cruise.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I'll be so surprised if it's something completely different.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I like it. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It's one of your predictions where it's like there is some...
validity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it turns out Verin has also another full stack of like small folded letters inside her pocket or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, Verin's doing Verin things, so like, who knows?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
anyway, time to start breaking down your camp because we're going to travel.
We got to do it. We're making the move. Here we go.
Here we go.
We're going to get there. It's going to make sense why Matt is somewhere like he had to get there. We saw that. We saw that.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And he's gonna.
Yeah, we're gonna go.
Okay, good. And we already had a vision that he was there.
Yes.
So we didn't mention it before, but this was a rewind.
Right. Or was that a fast forward?
Yeah.
How does that work? I don't know.
It's both.
It's both. Okay.
It's both and neither.
I love it.
Yeah. Because it was Rand, right, who saw Matt in Camelin.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, we're in Camelin? No, not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, we're going to perspective change back to Tuon.
Right.
But
Who's
no,
no longer
not
Tuon.
Tuon is dead, forgotten, gone, deceased, part of the wind. I don't know. Any other things you can think of.
Yeah, now she is Fortuona.
Fortuona, the Empress.
Mm-hmm.
And she's in the middle of giving a blessing to a soldier who's in front of her. And I have a new thing to add to our do not do list.
Oh, what?
Human sacrifice.
They're not really a human sacrifice. They're
Don't
only a little bit of that.
Put it on the list. Don't do human sacrifice. Just don't do it. I'm against it.
I don't know if I want that to be on my list, though.
You know what? You don't have a choice.
Can I have my own list where I'm like, maybe if it's like super cool specialized terangriel to make you a super assassin?
Do human sacrifice?
That's pretty cool.
Different. This is ritualistic human sacrifice.
But that's what they're doing. It's like, because they're going to use the ring to be super assassins.
I thought they were just dying, and the rings were something different.
Okay, no.
Okay.
You're wrong.
Okay, well, still don't do it.
Okay, so there's 5 people.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of the Fists of Heavens, which are like the super elite forces.
Sure.
Then there's 5 people who are going to put on their little magic rings. And these little magic rings, you spill a little bit of blood, put the magic ring on, and then these are the blood knives. Right? These 5 people are the blood knives. And these rings are going to give them strength and speed and shroud them in darkness and allow them to blend in with the shadows. And the cost is the rings will kill them over time.
Yeah.
Within like a few days of putting it on. So basically these 5 people...
I thought it was just human sacrifice time, and then they're also doing the assassin thing later.
No. These are they are sacrificing themselves to be super assassins. So these 5...
I still feel against human sacrifice.
Okay, but they're only sacrificing themselves so they can murder a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Right?
Also, a different thing.
You're gonna say you're against that too.
Okay, so...
Okay, what are we allowed to do here? What can I do?
So kind of
what can I even do here?
Straight human sacrifice.
Okay.
I didn't quite understand that, but that's okay. Still against it.
So if you're gonna do a raid on an enemy camp, and then you're gonna leave your secret assassins behind to murder as many Aes Sedai as you can afterwards, you're gonna be like, don't do that? You don't want that to happen?
Nope.
Gosh.
Just don't do it.
Oh, man, okay.
Don't assassinate. Don't human sacrifice.
Okay.
2 things on the list.
Yeah. But what about all the... Okay, so there's a new tactic here going down, too. And we kind of get led into this. So there's a new tactic that this raid is going to implement. So we're going to take a bunch of the Torakin.
We're air bombing.
We're air bombing, but we're also taking the Torakin. We're taking the Suldam, the Damani, Tuon, for Truona, obviously wants to take as many Marath Damani captive as they can, but also we have to stay behind and kill as many as we can too, because it's a waste to waste good Damani like this.
Yeah, but we also can't just leave them free.
You can't just leave them around, right? So that's kind of like the new raid style we're doing here, and then we're going to have Suldam Damani on the backs of the Torakin, like firebombing the tower.
Yeah.
Whilst we're doing everything else.
This is going to be so good for the tower because their defenses are so strong.
They're so prepared. I would say they're over prepared. You know, when you go into a test, you're like, I know too much of this material.
Yeah.
That's what the White Tower's like with this.
Uh-huh.
And they really studied for like one subject, but then it turns out
it's
a different subject. I don't know.
Did the White Tower study for anything? Do they even know they're in school?
I don't think they know.
They're like, I thought this was the fireworks factory.
Okay.
What do you mean I had to
the Shanshan are so far away.
What do you mean I had to prepare for something?
Yeah.
So maybe they'll never make it there.
Ooh, okay.
Maybe.
With the lightning storm that comes in the middle of the...
But here's the thing.
Okay.
In book 4, when Min, at the very beginning, has her visions of a bunch of people in the tower, all hurt from a battle.
True.
And also one Aes Sedai with a collar on.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, Shanshan are attacking the White Tower.
Sure.
I did. I said that.
Yeah.
And then it was sort of
like the
implied
tower broke, right?
That the tower siege situation.
Yeah.
Or what else would you call that?
The breaking of the tower. Yeah. The split.
The split.
Yeah. The coup.
The coup. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
That was a huge battle where people were hurt and stuff. So I was like, oh, it was that. And then one of the Aes Sedai, or several of them, are now actually Damani.
Yeah.
And I was like, was it that actual one who she saw, who's now just Damani over in Shanshan land?
Yeah, but now we've got Egwene who's like, oh, the Shanshan are definitely going to attack.
Yeah.
It's going to be bad.
Yeah.
And they're all like, you're a liar, Egwene.
Well, they don't say that. They say, maybe they'll do that, but not for so long.
Years and years. They're so far away.
Doesn't even matter.
We'll have so much warning.
Things to worry about, like the last battle.
It's not like they're going to do a midnight air raid on the White Tower.
They can't get here fast. They're so far away. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Now, it is go time, and we get an idea of how long it's going to take them to get to the White Tower flying on the tow rakin's backs.
Yes, the tow rakin are the big ones.
3 days, right? It's like a 3-day fly.
It's not far enough away. it's
that
really not that long.
Sound
yeah,
like a long time.
Because they're also like doing it sneakily too. Because they were like, oh, this is the part I was saying where Tuon realizes that the enemy can move faster than we should expect. So beforehand, who cares if people see a bunch of rakin and tow rakin flying?
Yeah.
But now they're like, oh, if message can be passed faster, we need to be super sneaky. So now we're just gonna fly. It's basically nighttime right now.
Yeah.
We're leaving at nighttime. We're probably only gonna fly at nighttime. Like we're gonna be sneaky about this attack strategy.
Cool. Good.
If you're cheering for the Shanshan, it's like, yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, there was an omen to their victory, so
Phew.
there was a rose that dropped 3 petals in the garden.
Everyone knows what that means.
Victory.
Right.
Cool.
I mean, why wouldn't it?
Why wouldn't it? Yeah. So they all start taking off, and it's a bigger fleet than Fort Chiwona has ever seen in the sky at once before. But
also bad news.
This is what we gotta do.
Yeah. And this is where we get the like no new rating style explanation, because General Yulin's like, hey, crazy idea. Let's just like blast him from the sky.
Yeah.
With our Damani. So yeah.
And it turns out that General Galgan thinks that this attack is going to give the Dragon Reborn a worse bargaining position because, you know, whatever.
Yeah, we had this conversation before where it's like, oh, like you defeat some of his armies and stuff so that he's in a bad position to negotiate.
And she's like, no, this will turn him against us entirely. And then Selusha was like, well, wasn't he against us before? And she says, no, we were against him. And that's the difference. Like, there's a difference in that. I fear we'll see soon just how big of a difference that is.
Yeah.
So she knows how bad this is going to piss him off.
Well,
like,
but
she
also
knows what she's doing.
But here's the thing: they think that Rand has a much stronger connection to the White Tower than he actually does.
Yeah.
Like, will Rand actually be infuriated at what happens?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's
I do.
Yeah.
I think wherever...
Like, he doesn't have a great relationship with the tower. I don't think
that matters. I think the fact that the Shanshan are moving against his will piss him off.
Right.
No matter what. They could be attacking anywhere. They could be attacking Camelin or Tyr or anywhere. Or other places that he doesn't have a hold in. They could be attacking somewhere in the Blight or Blightlands or... what's it called? Borderlands.
Borderlands, yeah.
Whatever. They're moving into lands that he's trying to protect, and that will piss him off. And if they manage to collar a bunch of Damani, or collar a bunch of Aes Sedai as Damani, that will also piss him off. Because he doesn't think anyone should be collared.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, he doesn't have a lot of love for Aes Sedai, for sure. But he doesn't want to see them collared, and he doesn't want the Shanshan moving in on territory that isn't already claimed, right?
Makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
So it's going to be great for everybody. Yeah.
You know,
I've been saying it gets worse before it gets worse.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's all going to be bad, and I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see just how bad.
Right.
Because I'm going to be angry. I'm already prepped to be angry.
Sure.
But in like the best way.
Can I give you the outline for the next couple episodes for us?
Yeah.
So the next 3 chapters, 37, 38, 39, we're doing all separately.
Single chapters.
Okay. And on the 3rd chapter, so chapter 39, we're going to have a guest.
Ooh, who?
Spencer's
Spencer's
coming back.
What? She didn't tell me.
Yeah.
Has that been planned for a while?
It has been planned for a while.
A while?
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe like 12 books or so it's been planned.
What?
It's been
God,
man,
that makes
okay.
Me, no, you shouldn't have told me. That makes me too excited for chapter 39.
Yeah. You shouldn't
have told me. You're not allowed to tell me these things that makes me excited for a chapter, because then my expectations are up.
So just so you know, like, we don't have that many chapters. We don't have that many chapters left in this book. We're actually almost done it.
Are we?
Yeah.
How many chapters are in this book? I don't even know.
There's 50 chapters.
Oh, that's not almost done.
We got we got 15 chapters basically.
That's a lot.
We are in the last third.
No,
it is
Robert Jordan books are like.
This isn't a Robert Jordan book solely.
That's true.
This is Brandon Sanders. It's going to be a rush to the end.
Anyway,
here we go.
15 isn't almost for me in this book.
It is.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Whatever. I don't think you should have told me that. I'm just going to be too eager to get there now, you know?
Yeah.
And I can predict what it's going to be about.
Right.
So...
Maybe.
Well, no, because I know Spencer very well, and I'll know what she wants to talk about.
For sure.
I think.
Okay. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Go read one of them.
I'm so excited now. And then we'll have to plan out our other multiple guests.
Oh, yes.
Who need to come on.
For sure, yeah.
Okay, well, before you go ahead and try to be like, hey, friends, and then someone says no, and then you say enemies, I'm going to say that this is part of the pattern now.
Yeah, it's part of the pattern.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. The Wheel Weaves is hosted and edited by Dani and Brett, produced by Dani and Brett with Passion Socks, Cody Fouts, Benjamin, Jamie Young, Megan, Jared Berg, Ricky Morissette, Lance Barden, Adam, Mozyme, Michelle Forbes, MKM, Antoine Benoit, Lawrence Bradley, Colby T, and Gabby Young. With music by Audionautics. Please be sure to check out our Patreon page if you are interested in supporting us and the podcast. We'd love to send you some Patreon exclusive merchandise as a thank you. Plus, you'll gain access to our episodes earlier than everyone else. And at the time of recording, we have over 45 bonus episodes for your listening pleasure. Find all that and more at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. For general information about our show, like information on how to send us shot glasses, how to join our Discord, how to get in touch with us, you can visit thewheelweavespodcast.com. And as always, please be sure to give us that 5-star review because it really does make a huge difference in helping other people find us. And if you write us a really nice review and put your Instagram or Twitter handle in the review on Apple Podcasts, we will be picking people at random to be giving out some merchandise like stickers and bookmarks, and we'll send them out to those people as a huge thank you. Now be sure to tell a friend, Riyadh, because referrals really are the best compliment. Thanks again for listening. This really is part of the pattern now.